That's saying wake up Wakefield, wake up. Hey guys, how you all doing? We were recently up in Wakefield delivering our Being the Difference course, and for those of you who don't know, it culminates at the end with groups of people getting together to co-produce. That's people with lived experience of severe multiple disadvantage and those of the experiences of working as a professional within the system, working together to co-produce and ask. And when we were up in Wakefield, we'd never done this before, film something, or certainly not an ask. And when they get to the end of it, they have to present their ask, and they said, David, can you film it for us? Well, we weren't exactly geared up for it, but we did the best that we could. And do you know what? Wow, it's just as well that we did, because there was not a dry eye in the room. There wasn't anybody without a lump in their throat. Incredibly powerful. So I'm going to show you that now, and then I'll see you at the end.
Don't give up. Don't give up. No matter what.
So we're doing a presentation on our ask for the community. And our ask was for a physical and virtual hub for signposting people with mental health issues within Wakefield. So 1 in 4 of us deal with mental health issues. We felt as a group that all of us had been touched or affected by mental health issues, and this is why we agreed on the ask that we did. So our ask started with me saying that I wanted more support for young people with mental health issues. I asked for this because when I was young I had a lot of issues. My personal story started when I was a kid. I had an abusive dad it was domestic violence. He sexually abused my mum, he sexually abused my half sister as well, and that's all stuff that eventually affects you. He wasn't very nice to me, he wasn't very nice to my brother. I have issues today that I still deal with because of him. Moving forward from that, I found school very difficult. I didn't have a lot of friends. I found it hard to make friends, mostly because of the anxiety. I didn't know how to talk to people, I didn't know really how to deal with people and understand their emotions as well as understanding my own. I always felt during my school years that there were a lot of opportunities that were missed. Things like I was asked to go and see a counsellor, and when I talked to this counsellor, nothing ever came of it. The things that I told her, the things we spoke about, which were sometimes about the way things were at home, the way things were at school. I was bullied a lot for all kinds of things. Some of them were things that were out of my control. Some people bullied me because my brother had learning difficulties, which is nothing to do with me at all. And it was very hard because me and my brother were very close when we were younger. I remember one experience of telling my PE teacher that 2 girls were bullying me constantly and that it made me feel very uncomfortable to get changed in front of them. And her words to me were, I don't care, you're doing PE, borrow a kit. And that was probably the first and only time I've ever walked out of a lesson at school. And I was put in isolation for that. I was punished because of me trying to reach out to somebody. And I remember one teacher specifically asking me why, because it was unlike me. But again, nothing ever came of that. Nobody ever investigated it. Nobody ever thought, why are they behaving like this? What's going on behind the scenes? My mum was quite a heavy alcoholic, which was hard to deal with, especially when you had to get her up to take her to school, but she'd been drinking heavily the night before. She said some things that she didn't mean to me, which later in life she's apologised for, because she understands now that the person talking wasn't her. My mum did try to commit suicide as well, which when you're 14 is not something you want to try and draw out of somebody. When all they're saying to you is, don't worry, I'm not waking up in the morning. That's something that no 14-year-old wants to hear from their parent. It's something that they don't want to have to try and figure out what's happened and what kind of help you need. I had a lot of trouble in college years, again with being bullied just for being me. At the end of it, now at 25, I'd say I've come a long way. I'm more confident than I used to be, which is saying a lot considering even now I'm not that confident. But I wish that there had been more support for me in those years that I needed it most. Which really brings us back to the my ask of wanting more support for young people. I've chosen a poem from one of our beneficiaries, one of our volunteers who has experienced mental health issues of her own, and it's called Childhood Trauma. And childhood trauma scars you for life, taints your soul, starts with the feeling you don't belong anywhere, the feeling of being unloved, the abandonment of not knowing if anyone really cares, going quiet, bottling things up, or it could go the other way and you go on self-destruct. Constantly being naughty, trying to draw someone's attention, for them to ask, is there something wrong? Why won't anyone reach out to me and ask that question? Just 2 words, what's wrong? Running away from home, sleeping on the streets, cold and alone, ended up on the path of drinking drugs, ended up in prison. Every relationship, domestic violence, all down to childhood trauma. Just take a second and ask that question, what's wrong?
I'm Nigel, I'm 54 and 57 years of age. I'm ex-army. I served 18 years in the forces. As you can guess, along the way I lost a few of my friends. One being Northern Ireland. We just started patrol on the Falls Road. Every now and then you do a swap round where you become Tailor Charlie. The Tailor Charlie is where you become the last person on patrol. Me and my best friend joined together, served together, everywhere we went, we served together. It was brilliant. We'd swapped over, and within a split second, he was laying on the floor. He'd been shot by a sniper. We pulled the Land Rover down forwards into a doorway where we pulled Andrew in. We comforted him. I sat in the corner of the shop. I rested his body, or his head against my shoulder and everything, and we were just waiting for emergency service to come. I was there covering him. He said he was all right with his best mate. Unfortunately, he died in my arms. The next day, just got on with his job as normal. It's how you talk, to do things. We continued doing the patrolling and everything, and then we came to some time off leave, so I came back to UK. Time off and not being with people that I knew that could support me, I just fell apart. I was drinking heavily, I was unsociable, I didn't want to be with anybody, I was angry, I was agitated, and I was dismissive of anything or anybody that wanted to help me, unless all I wanted to do was really get back to Northern Ireland and get back with my mates, because that's where that was. And this is the thing, at the point, we need this up because it's not just at my age, it's people that are older than me. When I came out of the army, there was nothing there for me, so we was hoping that this is what we could do. I had to fight or go out searching for everything that I needed to help me with my mental support, my mental illness that I have, post-traumatic stress disorder. It took me 5 years to be told that that's what I'm suffering from, and then the anxiety, the depression, and others that come into the factor. This is why we need. I'd like to set up a group that deals with that with ex-forces or people in later life that actually start to suffer. The big understanding for us, but it's that point of contact. Where do you get your help from? And this is the hub that we want to set up and then throw it out to others. Tina is going to be reading one of the points for us. She's also helping on the course with us, and we just thought this would give a little bit more effect to why we need what we need. Tina.
I'd like to read another one of Dawn's poems, and it's called I'm Lost. A winter moon glows in an open sky, hope sputters to a halt like those lesser lights, and what should have been never was. There is no one helping this lost cause, and as I trace my name onto your skin, I think back to where it all begins, nameless, faceless, knees folded into chin. If I lose, will you win? But you and I are the same. So don't go, not now. Don't leave me broken. Sorry. My words left unspoken. Somehow, somewhere, we all are robbed, one way or another, of hope. Your innocence, my life. Sorry. Before you turn away and slam the door, let me ask, are you the one in fault?
So again, our ask is to set up a signposting hub for people of all ages. As you've heard, people of all ages are affected. It doesn't matter who you are or where you come from, mental health doesn't discriminate. And we should be able to provide safe places for these people who need them. The lady who wrote poems, Dawn, she struggles because she's either too complex or not complex enough for help. And where does that get her? That leaves her struggling, and that's not fair. And we want to support those people as much as we can and give them a safe space, somebody who will listen. We've got one more poem by Dawn, and Bridget's going to come and read that.
Just a bit more about Dawn. She's an amazing woman. She wrote this book of poems, Into the Dawn, and the 3 poems have all been written for different things. The first one that Dee read out was for the Recovery College event. The second one that Tina read out was written for a group of students who were performing an 8-minute performance about addiction. And this third one is just called Speak Out. So these are Dawn's words. Speak out. Just think for a minute. If you're struggling with mental health issues, speak out. There is help and support out there. Don't suffer in silence like I did. Believe me, there is light at the end of the tunnel. I've had everything possible thrown at me. I've been judged, lived with a stigma, even in my own family. But don't be afraid, speak out. I was isolating myself in bed, sleeping the day away. Felt so alone, so empty inside. My head was telling me, speak out. We're not to blame. It's not your fault. Believe in yourself. It's hard to do. You will get there in the end.
That's the end of our presentation. Thank you very much for listening.
How amazing was that? Absolutely incredible. And incredible on so many levels. The personal levels with people telling their stories, those powerful stories, massively emotional, telling their stories, but then working with those professionals within the systems who don't necessarily have the same experiences, but working together to co-produce that ask. That for me is just as incredible. How amazing is that? And I hope that if you're someone in Wakefield right now who's in a position of authority and is listening to it, I hope you heard that message loud and clear, and I hope more importantly to do something about it. So guys, that was our trip to Wakefield. So if you like the video, thumbs up. If you didn't like it, thumbs down. That's okay too. Really interested in your comments, not about the audio. I know that was really bad. I did the best that I could. But comments about centralised hubs and things like that, if you've got any examples where that works, please pass it on to us and we'll make sure it gets to Wakefield. Yeah, and that's just about it. So share, like, subscribe, visit the different channels that we're on, all of that sort of stuff, just to spread the conversation, and we can get the conversation louder and louder and louder. But until next time, guys, thanks for watching, and as always, stay safe.
Don't give up. Don't give up.
Don't give up. Don't give up. No matter what.